G'day everyone, my name's Cautious Pancake, and today I've been taking a look at Enshrouded, which I probably don't need to tell you is a new survival game that came out yesterday into early access. As with most survival games, at some point early on you need to start to build a home, and it's all too easy to end up just building a boring rectangular box. So today I'm going to show you what I built in case you want to do something similar. It's a quick, cheap, easy to construct little cottage. Starting off with our hammer equipped, we can hit tab to enter build mode and head over next to our flame altar. We want the 2 meter block type initially selected, and after I place this wood down incorrectly, we can hit Y to undo any build action as we go. Switching over to the rough stone block with control on the scroll wheel, we place a 2 meter little boundary down first and then head over and change to the 4 meter block. Placing one there, one to the side and one back over this way. That's going to form what's going to be the path around the outside of the cottage. We can then switch back to rough wood blocks and place 3 down here, then back to rough stone blocks to continue our path. Filling out the middle of the cottage, you can see where we've put the wood. That's going to be the foundation for the base. And back to the rough stone blocks, we can finish out the edging all the way around the wood section. Just going to head over here. This is what the foundation should look like at this point. From here we're going to start adding in the walls of the cottage. To do that we'll need to head back over, and then we'll probably start with some windows on the side for what's going to be the bedroom of the cottage. One on the front here, and another on the other side around the lounge room. And in the middle we're just going to put in a little doorway. Over this side we're just going to put a plain wall in by selecting 2, and the same over here. Also all the way along the back is just going to be plain wall. This side, for the side of the bedroom wall, we're going to go back to windows and put 2 in like this. That's the main wall structure done. While we're doing wood walls we might just do the inside as well. I'm going to put a blank wall here for the bedroom and then another doorway just to create some separation. There you go, that didn't take long, but we're not done yet. From here what we might do is start to use some of our extra pieces. We'll put in the door, and then some of our window frames over here, here, these 2 over here. And just because I want it to look a little different, what we might do then is switch back to our build tool, go to the 1 meter blocks, and using the right click we're going to create another window in this wall here. Since this is going to be the lounge room, we just want to let in a little bit more light. There we go. Getting there. Heading back inside the lounge room, since we've already been practicing deleting blocks, what we might do now is make room for the fireplace. You're going to want one of these to cook food anyway, so we might as well incorporate it into our cottage. Using the R key to rotate it around, and we can then use the mouse to try and position it. I think there is going to be just fine. Now it looks a little odd poking out of the wall, but we're going to fix that. We'll go back to our hammer and into build mode, and grabbing the rough stone block again, we're going to switch over to our 2 meter blocks. My scroll wheel's a bit funny, but we get there eventually. And with the 2 meter block selected, rotate that around. We can then try and poke this through the wall. When the blocks won't go exactly where you want like this and they bounce all over the place, hit X to turn off snapping mode, and then you can place the blocks exactly where you want with more fine-grained control. We want to poke it one towards us from the wall, just like that, on either side of the fireplace. And then above it we'll do the same sort of thing like this. We can then extend it upwards. It doesn't really matter how high. We'll just guesstimate it for now, and we can clean it up once we've got up onto the roof. Coming around the other side of it, you can see it's kind of chunky and sticks out a long way. That's probably a little bit more than I like, so going back to the 1 block tool, we can remove the outer layer of the chimney just to make it look a little bit nicer. You can also see that there's a couple of blocks left on the other side there, and if we try and fill them in with single blocks, it looks a little bit weird. So if I take them out again, we can then switch back. Actually, we'll delete a few more of these, just so we can see what we're doing. It's a little bit slow doing them one at a time, but if we switch back to the 2-meter block that we were using before, and what we can then do is add that in and fill up that gap, just like this. That makes that all look nice and good. But you can see if we try and remove the outer section using the same block, it can do a little weird things like that. So again, we hit Y to undo those changes, and we'll go back to removing the blocks individually using the 1-meter cube. That's mostly done now. We'll leave the rest until we can get up a little bit higher in a bit. Actually, why don't we do it now? One of the really cool things that I love in Enshrouded is this, the scaffolding. It's a prefabbed block that you can place down that makes it really easy to get up and work around at heights when you're building. I think most survival games out there could do with taking a lesson from Enshrouded's book on this one. I would love to see the scaffold block be added to plenty of other games. With the chimney now mostly done, it's time to add a little bit of aesthetics to the outside of the cottage base before we put the roof on. What we're going to do is come here to the corner and delete the entire column that forms the corner of the base. Then, selecting the rough flintstone block, we're going to place these instead, just to make the cottage look a little neater, tidier and stronger. Repeat this then for the other 3 corners. And there we go, tidy stone corners for our cottage. Right, the tricky bit, adding in the roof. Once again, we're going to grab our scaffolding, head up, and then it's time to go back into build mode, grab the 4-meter roof blocks, and use the outer corner roof. I'm using plant fiber for this one, again, just because we want a super quick and easy, cheap cottage to start with. To get the roof right for this cottage, it all comes down to the first 2 corners. Once you've got them in place, the rest is easy. What we're looking to do is rest it so that the roof overhangs on both the wall nearest to us and the wall through the chimney. That's looking pretty good on both counts. You can see that there's just that equal amount of overhang on both walls. What we then need to do is repeat that on the other corner, and from there on it should be pretty easy. I'm in non-snapping mode for now. You can also use the Q button and the scroll wheel to try and nudge the roof into the position that you want. That looks pretty good. Yep, that overhang is right. So what we can do now is head back up again, grab the first block, just the sloping roof, line that up, which is being problematic. So I'll turn snapping back on and it's a whole lot easier. There we go. And that fills in the gap nicely. We can then pick up our scaffold. Even though the animation looks like you break it, you don't. You grab that back, pop it down again, and then we can head up on the other side. Of course, I could have just jumped up onto the roof and run around, but this way feels more realistic. Back to the corner roof, spin that around with R, and with snapping on, that should line straight up with the other corner that's already there. Same again on the other side, and then back to the middle block. And of course, I've run out of materials. You can see there the counter in the middle says I've got 16 blocks and I need 72. So I'm just going to dash over and make some extra ones. There we go. Now that we're back, we'll place that in, and you can tell it's all worked perfectly when you've got the nice neat little ridge line running down the middle of the thatched roof. If that looks all wonky and it doesn't match up exactly, then at least one of your pieces is in the wrong spot. Okay, so that's the roof done. Let's just have a quick gansy. Not too bad. Heading inside though, it's looking a little bit empty and a little bit drab on the inside. So what it might be time next for is a little bit of decoration. On the outside, we're going to put on a wall torch just to make sure that we can see when we're coming in and out of the base. Even though we've got the flame altar there, that should give us a little bit of light, but this will just help. Then we can grab our workbench, bring that inside now that we've got a home to live in. Place that down in the corner. What else do we have? We've got a bed. Let's put our bed down in the bedroom. Makes sense. In the corner there, away from the window, just like that. We've got a little nightstand that can go next to it. There, like that. We've got a small side table, just in there, and a little chair to sit at. We've also got somewhere, there it is, a little candle. We'll pop that on the nightstand. And that's pretty much all of our decorations done. We might also need some storage. You can put these on the ground, either next to the workbench there or there, but I like to keep the floor empty, so what we can do instead is build a little shelf for them. Coming back into the build tool, we can grab our 1 meter block again, and come down at least a couple of blocks there, maybe. That leaves 2 above it, using the rough wooden block. Actually, I think that's a little high. We'll bring it down 1 more, and bring that across to match the workbench, and out 2 blocks. Like so, that gives a little shelf. And if we try and place the tiny chests on top like that, you'll see that it won't let us. It says that the angle's wrong if you try and place it like that. So what you can do instead is just jump up on top, get on top of this wall, and placing it works just fine as long as you're above it. Don't ask me why, but that's how it is in the game at the moment. So you can pop the chest there on the shelf like that, another one next to it, and that just gets your storage nicely organized and off the floor. So you can come over here, grab stuff out of your chests, and then use it on the workbench directly underneath. So there we go, that's pretty much it. Oh wait, no it's not. We've got one more block type that we need to use. If I head back into the build tool, we're going to grab the 4 meter blocks and pick the horizontal one, number 5, and head to our mycelium overgrown block. I'm not even sure if that's how you say it, but that's what I'm going with. What we're going to use that for is just to create a little bit of a fence around the outside of our path. With snap mode on, you can place it like that. And then if you just run around and point at the end of each of the fence blocks, rotate it around and then place it again, that will generally line it up and snap it just right. One thing I don't think I've mentioned is one other really cool system of Enshrouded, if you haven't seen it, is the build process where it won't use more blocks than it needs. So even though it might take 8 blocks to build a length of 8 like this, if you're placing it where there's already some blocks already existing, it won't rebuild the full 8 blocks. It might only use 6 if 2 of them overlap. It's a really nice way to just make it work without using too many materials. So that's our final product. With all the extra decorations that we've added, it's got a comfort level of 10, so that when you're fully rested, you've got 15 minutes of rested buff to help you out as you adventure around in the world. So that's my version of an easy, quick and cheap starter base for Enshrouded. But don't worry, I'm hoping to get bigger and stranger bases built as I get further into the game. Let me know in the comments if you're playing or thinking of playing Enshrouded, and please leave a like if you've enjoyed the video and found it useful, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy building.